The film opens in front of a cabin where we see Mickey relaxing, smoking a cigarette and listening to music. When his music player stops, he calmly sits down and changes the battery so he can listen to his music again. He decides to take a look inside the cabin, but before he can, his friend Ben suddenly jumps out and tells him to run. They hear a growl coming from the house, so Ben fires a few shots and runs after him as well. It turns out this zombie apocalypse happened a few months ago. That's why Ben and Mickey are now wandering the countryside with no destination. The two are former baseball players, and Ben is very skilled at taking out zombies with his bat. Mickey, however, still isn't used to fighting the zombies. They scavenge for supplies whenever they can and rest in any place that seems safe. They try to make sense of their new reality and figure out what's happening in their lives. One day, Mickey sits down and scratches a few lottery tickets. He's ecstatic when he discovers he's won $1,000. But Ben shatters his joy, telling him that the lottery doesn't even exist anymore. He asks him to play a game of catch instead. Mickey isn't enthusiastic at all, but Ben convinces him with a few words, reminding him that they're supposed to love baseball. Afterwards, their journey continues, and the two find another cabin in the woods. Ben goes in first and does a quick sweep to make sure it's empty before they rest. Since there's nothing of value in the house, Ben decides to go fishing for their dinner. And Mickey, being his usual unhelpful self, takes out all the canned tuna from their bags. So Ben asks him to start a fire. Mickey ignores him, puts on his headphones, and walks off. A little later, Mickey finds the bodies of a few zombies that Ben has just taken care of. He panics, remembering that Ben said there wouldn't be any zombies in the woods. Ben corrects him, saying he'd said there would be fewer of them, which turned out to be true. After walking a few more miles, the two find an abandoned car. Ben opens the door and a zombie emerges. He doesn't give her a chance and shoots her in the head immediately. He gets in the car and is disgusted by the foul smell filling the vehicle. Luckily, the car still works, so they use it to continue their journey. Now they're traveling in style, enjoying the scenery from the road, even though the radio isn't working. One afternoon, Mickey remembers a girl he used to date and convinces Ben that they should go to her house. While Ben is searching for zombies, Mickey listens to his ex-girlfriend's music and smells her clothes. He ends up taking some of her belongings and her perfume as well. In the garage, Ben finds some useful tools and a pair of walkie-talkies. Mickey also finds toothbrushes, and they finally get to brush their teeth after a long time. After that, Ben adjusts the backseat of the car, creating an open space that they fill with blankets and pillows. Mickey wants to stay in the house, but Ben refuses. A fight breaks out between them. Ben reminds Mickey that they were trapped in a house for 3 months until the food ran out, to the point where they ate dog food, and after that, they ate the dog itself. Mickey's family also died at the beginning of the disaster because they were trapped in a house. And when Mickey kept nagging him to sit down, he yelled at him. Then the trip continued and Mickey spent most of his time with headphones in his ears to escape reality. When they found a field full of cows, Ben stopped to pat them. They looked cute, so they made him smile. After a while, Ben asked Mickey if he wanted to play some baseball, but Mickey didn't hear him because of the music. Ben wanted to joke with him and jumped on him from behind, pretending to be a zombie. Mickey was terrified, so Ben told him that these headphones would kill him one day. After that, Mickey changed the radio batteries and gave one of the milk bottles to test his range. The devices were working perfectly. While they were joking around, they accidentally came across a signal from another group of survivors, one named Annie and one named Frank, who were talking about a camp and were going to drive and watch movies too. After some hesitation, Mickey spoke to them and asked if he and Ben could join this camp, and promised that he would work like a donkey to help them. But he was told that the camp had no empty spaces and that he shouldn't try to look for them. Frank also asked him to stay away from their frequency and hung up on him. Mickey kept begging them to help him, but it was no use. Ben didn't have any influence on him, and Mickey brought him to the end, cursing and being rude about the situation they were in. He said he was fed up with sleeping anywhere and also fed up with hunting in order to make a living, and the smell of coffee that's like tar. But Ben just laughed and told him that the people at the camp didn't want them, so there was no need to worry. For the next few days, Mickey kept trying to contact the camp by radio, but no one answered. Ben heard him mentioning Annie specifically and understood that Mickey was in such a hurry for the fun that he became attached to the voice. Ben started making fun of him and said, "You must have imagined that she was a bombshell like the ones in action movies. But in reality, she is probably old." But Mickey insulted Ben and told him that he was the only person who knew him and that he got fat during the disaster. Ben didn't get upset and told him that he was the only person who knew him anyway, period. After that, the two of them stopped at a motel and Ben waited in the car while Mickey insisted on looking at the rooms. There might be other survivors, and just as Ben expected, he found a room full of zombies, so he had to go out to fight with them. And Mickey hid like every time. Mickey kept grumbling and said that they could walk normally and that Ben doesn't have to die every zombie he encounters. A fight broke out between them, and he challenged him to go and fight the zombies himself, thinking that they were the ones who killed his family. Since Mickey was still terrified and hadn't moved, Ben had to do all his work again. In the forest, Ben found a waterfall and shouted with joy because he was finally going to take a shower. Mickey was asleep in the car and suddenly woke up to a zombie that appeared at the window. At first, he started screaming for someone to help him and grabbed the walkie-talkie to talk to Ben. But notice that this zombie is a rocket and her chest is stuck to the window. Femi decided to use his hand under the pretext that he was pushing her. When he was about to reach his limit, he found the zombie's brain had been blown apart by a bullet. He came back, and when he saw Mickey doing that, he laughed hysterically. He walked away, leaving them to give his friend some privacy so he could finish what he was doing. The journey continued, and the two of them kept finding random houses in the forest, but they were always empty. They had to abandon the car after it ran out of gas. Then one day, they found a building with a really nice bedroom inside. So Mickey said they'd spend the night there because he wanted to sleep in a real bed, and that no one was going to tell him no. He started unpacking their bags and realized the headphones were missing. Mickey ran outside and found Ben making arrows while listening to music. When Mickey asked for his music player back, Ben refused to give it to him. He told him that if Mickey was going to sleep in a room with no escape route, he couldn't afford to be distracted. Ben, tired of having to do all the fighting for both of them, wanted Mickey to snap out of it. Mickey threw a tantrum like a little kid and tossed the arrows on the ground in protest. Over dinner, Ben started teasing Mickey about what happened in the car with the female zombie, but Mickey ignored him and went to the bedroom. He tried the walkie-talkie one last time, and to his surprise, Annie responded. She said she'd get in trouble for talking to him and explained that the camp wasn't as great as he imagined. Mickey insisted he still wanted to go since it would be better than sleeping in a tree. He also told her that he and Ben didn't know each other very well. They were just two guys on the same team when the disaster struck. Annie thought Mickey was whining too much and hung up on him. Meanwhile, Ben was listening to music, dancing and drinking in the living room. Suddenly, he heard strange noises and went to investigate. After dealing with it, he found Mickey still sleeping like a baby. Ben was fed up with Mickey and his constant disregard for the danger around them, so he decided to play a cruel prank on him. He left the bat on the bed and went into the woods. He returned with a zombie he had captured earlier. Ben dragged the zombie to Mickey's room, shouted at him to wake up, and locked the door. Mickey screamed frantically for help, but Ben told him he had to learn to defend himself. After a long struggle, Mickey finally killed the zombie with the bat. Ben opened the door, proud of him, but Mickey lunged at his friend like a madman, landing a few punches before leaving. In the woods, Ben found Mickey, completely distraught. Mickey told him about his conversation with Annie, so Ben took him back to the house. After they cleaned up, Ben tried to cheer him up with a game of catch and some funny noises, reminding him that Annie was just a voice on the radio. From then on, Mickey started to be more aware and help out. He'd go fishing and stop listening to music so much so he and Ben could talk. When they found an apple orchard, they ate their fill of apples and played some baseball. Eventually, they found two cars. They tried to siphon gasoline from one to fill up the other. Mickey noticed the engine was warm, which meant the drivers were still in the area. Ben started shouting, calling out to see if anyone would answer, but no one did. So he decided to take the gas anyway. Suddenly, a man named Jerry surprised Mickey from behind and took him hostage with a knife, demanding the car keys. He said he had to get to Arizona. Ben pulled out his gun and explained that he didn't have the keys. He said he couldn't believe that Jerry would actually hurt Mickey, but he pointed out that there's probably nothing in Arizona and that Jerry had no reason to do this. Jerry started screaming and rambling about a group of people who made him work all winter. They promised him a gun, gas, and food so he could go home in the spring, but they didn't keep their promise. He refused to say who those people were. When Jerry threatened Mickey again, Ben put the gun on the ground and told him the keys were inside the car. Jerry let Mickey go and got in the car, but Ben realized he was lying. The keys were in his pocket. The angry Jerry cursed him out and tried to run, but Ben chased after him, shot him, and finished him off. Mickey blamed Ben for killing a regular person, but Ben said it was self-defense. And a fight broke out between them. Just then, another car arrived and Ben pulled out his gun again. A woman's voice explained she was there for her other car, and everyone agreed to act civil. The woman and her bodyguard started filling the abandoned car with gas while asking about Jerry. Ben told them what happened, and the woman said they did the right thing because Jerry was a thief. And just as these strangers were about to leave, Mickey finally recognized the voice and realized it was Annie. She responded by shooting Ben in the leg and chewed Mickey out for not letting the matter go. She took Ben's keys and threw them into the field so they couldn't follow her, and told them if she saw them again, she'd kill them both. After Annie and her guard left, Mickey started searching for the keys but couldn't find them. Ben couldn't help him because his leg was injured and told him to rest for now because it was getting dark. In the middle of the night, the guys woke up to a strange sound. They turned on the lights and discovered a horde of zombies coming towards them. Mickey wanted to run and leave the car, but Ben couldn't move because of his leg, so Mickey was forced to go back. The next morning, the guys were still trapped in the car because the zombies had them surrounded. Mickey tried to calm himself by listening to music, but it wasn't enough to drown out the sounds. Ben opened the car's sunroof and fired, but he couldn't kill enough of them or scare them away. He had to close the roof quickly before the creatures could get inside. That's when Mickey insisted they had to start the car, but Ben said they'd already tried and failed because it's not as easy as it is in the movies. Another fight started, and Ben blamed Mickey for their situation because he was the one who provoked Annie into shooting him. A few more days passed, but the zombies didn't leave. The sound of their groaning was driving them both crazy, so they hung blankets over the window so at least they wouldn't have to see their damn ugly faces. When the water ran out, they started collecting the liquid from their cans of tuna. With no hope for the future, they decided to get drunk and play road trip games. In the end, they both decided that since Mickey got them into this mess, he should be the one to go out and look for the keys. Mickey decided to be brave for the first time, climbed out of the car through the roof, and went into the field to search for the keys. For the next few moments, Ben couldn't do anything but smoke a cigarette and wait. Ben heard Mickey shouting his name, so he quickly opened the roof for his friend. Unfortunately, Mickey revealed he'd been bitten, and both of them were devastated. Mickey admitted he was scared and didn't know what to do, but Ben pulled out his gun and told him to get out of the van. When Mickey refused to move, wanting a chance, Ben shot him to put him out of his misery. He screamed in pain and heartbreak. Afterward, Ben sent a message to Annie. He blamed her for Mickey's death and vowed he would kill her if he ever found her. He lived in the van for a few days, finding the irony in his situation. After being trapped in a house for 3 months, he was now trapped in a van. In the end, he got fed up with the life he was living. He decided it was time to try and live outside once again. He put on Mickey's headphones and walked down the road as a horde of zombies ran after him. And that's the end of the movie. We'll see you in a new recap, and thanks for watching.